In this video, we're going to talk about basic division by one digit. So our first example is written here, 356 divided by 6 equals, and there's likely going to be a remainder. So when I see a question written like this, I'm going to rewrite it because it's a little hard to do the long division when it's written like that. So I have 356, and then this means divided by 6. So let's start by writing our steps on the side. In class, the one I usually bring up is dad, mother, sister, brother. Some people say one about McDonald's or burgers or something. And then sometimes people also put repeat on the end. It's up to you if you like that. I find just dad, mother, sister, brother helps me remember. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. In fact, I'll even write that for this first one. Okay, so the first step we have is to divide. So we start with looking at our 6, and we're looking, this one isn't actually the best example to start with because we always want to ask with this first digit here that's closest to our divisor. I've just added in some vocabulary here. So the dividend is this large number we're trying to divide, and we're dividing it by the divisor, which is our 6. So our first step again is to divide, and we're going to look at the number closest to the divisor, so the 3. And I'm asking myself, and listen carefully to this wording, how many 6s can I take out of 3? So I'm saying if I had 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, how many 6 groups of 6 can I take out of that? Hopefully you're obviously saying none. There is not even 6 dots there. So if you are comfortable, you can then switch over to looking at 35 as a whole instead of just 3. If you'd like, by all means, you can also, and this might be helpful as you're beginning because it is important where you put the numbers on top in order to get the answer correct. So I'm going to put a 0 here, and I'm going to do the steps anyhow. So I've said, I've divided. How many 6s can I take out of 3? 0. My next step is multiply. 0 times 6. I often like to put a little multiplication sign right here. That helps me remember that I'm timesing the number on top by the divisor. So back to 0 times 6 is 0. We write that underneath the number we're dividing by. Minus 3 minus 0 is 3. Sorry, that was the subtract step. And then we do the bring down. What are we bringing down? We did the 3, so we're bringing down the 5. Now, repeat. I just think, okay, go back to divide. So now I'm looking at the 35 and 6. How many 6s can I take out of 35? If you are someone who's very comfortable with your basic division and multiplication facts, I'm hoping you recognize, hey, I know 6 times 5 is 30, and 6 times 6 is 36. That's too big, so we must only be able to take out 5. So my answer to a division question always goes on top, and then I continue from there. If you're like, Miss Cooper, I have no idea how many 6s I can take out of 35, and I don't want to draw 35 dots and circle groups of 6, that's when you refer to your multiplication table. So we're going to go down one of the 6s until we get close to 35, but not bigger. So obviously 36 is bigger, so we'll stop at that 30. Go across, our answer is 5, as we said there. Now we keep going. So we've done the division, put our answer at the top. Next, we're going to multiply. Remember, we're always multiplying the answer to the division by the divisor. 5 times 6 is 30. Next step, subtract. 35 minus 30 is 5. Next step, bring down. We already brought down the 5, so now we're bringing down the 6. Notice I make my arrow all the way down. One of the most common mistakes for kids in division is they mess up because they get messy. I'm trying to be as neat as I can here, but these having the arrows all the way to the spot you're taking it helps. Okay, so we did the bring down, now we're back to divide. How many 6s can we take out of 56? So again, I'm thinking, okay, in my math, I know that 10 times 6 is 60, that's too big. 9 times 6 is 54, so it's gonna be 9. Really helpful if you're comfortable with your division facts. If you don't know that off by heart, that's fine. So you go to your 6, you can go there or start here. I'll start here this time. I'm gonna go across until I'm close to 56, but not bigger. There's 54, there's 60, so I have to stop at the 54 because 60 is bigger. I look up and the other factor is 9. So 56 divided by 6 is 9 with some left over. The answer to the division question goes on top. Done the divide. Now we're multiplying. 9 times 6 is 54. Next we subtract. 56 minus 54 is 2. And next we bring down. But Ms. Cooper, there's nothing to bring down. So in that case, you can think of this as the remainder as well as repeat. We are just going to go remainder 2. And that's it for that question. Something to keep in mind, if you notice your remainder is bigger than your divisor, you've done something wrong. The reality is we can't take any more 6s out of 2, and there's nothing to bring down, so that's that. On to our next division question. This one says 413 divided by 3. I've rewritten it over here just so it's easier for me to write on. So, first step, divide. Looking into my divisor and the first number closest to the divisor. I'm asking myself, how many 3s can I take out of 4? Very simple. I hope you can all visualize that. Imagine I have 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can take one group of 3. So 1. Next step, multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Then subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down. What am I bringing down? The next number over is the 1. Bring down the 1. Back to divide. How many 3s can I take out of 11? I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 4 is 12, which is too big. So the answer is going to be 3. If you want me to prove that to you on the multiplication chart, again, I start at the 3. I'm going down, so I'm close to 11, but not bigger. 12 is too big. Looking at the 9, go over. 3 is my answer, which is what I put up there. After divide, I multiply. 3, careful, not 13. 3 times 3 is 9. Next step, subtract. 11 minus 9 is 2. Next step, bring down. Bringing down the 3. Back to divide. How many 3s can I take out of 23? I know that 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 8 is 24, so that would be too big, so it must be 7. I'll put 7 on top. I will prove it to you on the multiplication chart. Down the 3 until I get close to 23, but not bigger. 24 is too big, over, answer 7, which is what I put. Multiply next. 7 times 3 is 21. Minus, next step, subtract. Minus equals 2. Next step, bring down. Oh, nothing left to bring down, so we're just going to do our remainder of 2. And we ask ourselves, is our remainder bigger than our divisor? No, so we're in the clear. Notice I'm really carefully lining these numbers up. How many 3s can I take out of 4? 1. I wrote that over the 4. Although it's not as important right now, as we progress in our division and we start to use decimals, then it's going to make a big difference, okay? You can also start to estimate. Does it make sense that you can take, I know this is hard for you to wrap your brain around, but 3 times, we can always sort of go backwards. 3 times 137, is that around 400? Yeah, 3 times 100 is like 300, but 3 times 37 is going to be like another 100. So it makes sense. Always try and get your brain estimating as well. This will be the last example in this video. We're looking at 811 divided by 5. Starting with our division, how many 5s can I take out of 8? I can take 1. That's a pretty straightforward one, I think. Obviously, 2 times 5 is 10, too big, so it must be just 1. Next, we're multiplying. 1 times 5 is 5. Then we're subtracting. 8 minus 5 is 3. Then we bring down the 1. Back to divide. How many 5s can I take out of 31? I know that 5 times 6 is 30. Check that down here. 35 would be too big. So our answer is 6. I can take 6 5s out of 30. 1. Multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract. 31 minus 30 is 1. Bring down the 1. Now I'm back to division. How many 5s can I take out of 11? I can take 2, because I know that 2 times 5 is 10. Multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Minus equals 1. Bring down. Oh, nothing left to bring down, so that's my remainder. Is my divisor bigger than my remainder? Yes, we're okay. We don't want this to be bigger. The divisor has to be bigger. Because if we could take more 5s out of this, we've done something wrong. Remainder, 1. Okay, good luck with this section.